Alrighty, so this is going to be part 3 of our poetry analysis video, and we're moving into the actual analysis of the poem now. So I'll start by reading the poem, and then I will move into discussing how I would set up my analysis in the right-hand side of the columns here. So you can see that I've set up a left-hand column. The content of the poem actually goes into the left-hand column of our chart, and then over here, after we're done reading, I will build out my analysis, and I'll be able to track the 3 levels here. So this is the beta level, the alpha level, and the theta level. Okay, so let's read. 3 mighty firs stand against the salt sky. They murmur and whisper as needles fly. 10 circling seagulls mournfully they call. White wings and gray clouds, coldly the rains fall. Once an ocean of trees, mountain to sea, the saucy squirrels ran from branch to branch, free. But hungry steel monsters came, killing jaws, money-minded masters with short-eyed flaws. 3 lonely firs stand, seeking sky to see. Call the earth goddess, she's a honeybee. Bring back our forests, bring back the bright light. Banish the gold-eyed demons to the night. That was written by me, and there's the publication date was 2022. In fact, I wrote it this morning when preparing this lecture. Okay, so let's jump straight into it here. So we're always going to talk about the beta level first, then the alpha level, then the theta level. That's part of the benefit of having a 3-window system, is that at least you know the order that you're going to approach the poem from. So the very first thing I need to do is I need to count the lines of the stanzas here. So I see that we've got 3 stanzas, right? Each stanza is 4 lines. And now we can move into talking about the actual beats per line. So this is the trick. One of the tricky parts is counting the syllables. And what I do is I just use my fingers. I actually count as I read. So 3 mighty firs stand against the salt sky. That's 10. So I put a 10 here. And I'll actually use a little system to organize my ideas within this framework. They murmur and whisper as needles fly. Okay, 10 again. 10 circling seagulls, mournfully they call. Okay, that's also 10 syllables, so we can start to see a pattern emerging here. White wings and gray clouds, coldly the rains fall. 10 again. So obviously this writer, this author, this poet, has decided very carefully to make sure there are 10 syllables per line. So that's definitely something we would want to include in our analysis. There's a structure there. There's something consistent there. Now the next thing we'll look at, we're still in our beta level. We're going to look for rhyme scheme. So we moved from stanzas to how many lines are there. So it's 3 stanzas, 4 lines per stanza. Now we've noticed on the 3rd level, kind of getting more discrete as we go, that there are 10 beats per line in each of the lines of the first stanza. And I usually kind of go, I'll do the analysis of 1 stanza, then the 2nd stanza, then the 3rd stanza. And actually for today's purpose, I'm just going to do the 1st stanza because I want to leave the 2nd and 3rd stanza for you to look at, and also then for you to talk about with your partners. Okay, so next we're going to look at rhyme scheme. So we've got sky and fly. So those 2 rhyme. So we're going to use the letter A for these 2 because they're rhyming. And we put another colon to separate the ideas. Good. Actually, you know what? We'll do a double line here, double backslash, and that will indicate when you see that double backslash, it'll mean we're moving from, this is the beta level, and then after the double backslash we'll be moving into the alpha level, and then we'll have another double backslash and we'll be moving into the theta level. Okay, so then let's look here. Call, fall. Okay, great. We do have a pattern of rhyme here. So we can see that within this stanza we have A, A, B, B. And if we look quickly going down C, free, so this would be C, C. Jaws, flaws, this would be DD. So we do indeed see that there is a pattern emerging here, a rhyme scheme emerging here. Good. Moving forward. So now that's our beta level analysis. We're moving into the alpha level. So remember, in the alpha level, what we're looking for is we're looking for similes, metaphors, personification. Those are kind of our comparative tools. But at the same time, we're also looking for alliteration, assonance, and anaphora. And those are our kind of our wordplay tools. So we've got a few different things going on here. 3 mighty firs stand against the salt sky. So I look at that first line and I notice a few things. This idea of the firs standing against the sky, we're kind of giving a human quality to the firs. So we do have personification. And that personification becomes more clear in the second line, where we see that they were saying that they murmur and whisper. So that's a little bit more direct. So maybe we'll actually leave our discussion of personification to the second line, the second half of this couplet, because it's more powerful there. So, but we can note that there is alliteration. In our first line, we've got these S sounds stacked up. So we've got the 2 S sounds there, salt, sky. We've got, actually there's 3, stand, salt, sky. So there's a focus on S sounds in that first line. Good. And then we'll move down here, and on the second line we can say there's personification. The firs are humanized. Good. And that's good. So we're developing everything there. And we can move into our theta level. And you'll notice that I am kind of working in couplets here. So the first, as I mentioned in my initial lecture, the initial video of the lecture, couplets are like one idea grouping. So often it's not a bad idea to look at them and analyze them together. That makes sense too, because they also have that rhyme scheme component together, right? So then we could say that there's this idea of nature, and there seems to be some sort of conflict or some sort of disquiet with these natural forces. So the power of nature is a theme. And then down below, so we can see that now we've done all 3 levels. And then in the second part of the couplet, we might say, the trees seem to have unrest. Okay, and we'll see if that develops more deeply as the poem goes on. So what you can see is I've moved through all 3 levels. I've indicated, so this is kind of our structural level. Then we move into looking at our alpha level, which is again the comparative or wordplay level. And then finally, we have moved into the thematic level. Okay, so let's go carry on and finish the stanza. 10 circling seagulls, mournfully they call, white wings and gray clouds, coldly the rains fall. So what I'd notice there is, in terms of our 10 circling seagulls, circling and seagulls, so this actually is alliterative. Again, even though it's a letter C, it's a C that sounds like an S. So we could say circling seagulls has that S sound alliteration as well. And then once more, we see this theme being developed of this idea of sadness or loss. So we could say the theme of sadness / loss is present. Good. Okay, so that's line 3 completed. And then let's finish off the stanza. White wings and gray clouds, coldly the rains fall. So once more, we've got alliteration, white wings, both start with the W sound. And again, this idea of cold rains, again, that's kind of all together. The entire stanza has sort of a sad or cold or dark, overshadowed type of feeling. So the image of cold rains does feed into the overall thematic So this is an example of how we would build out our framework analysis of this poem. So then you would go forward and start writing your paragraph about it.